Hi, I'm Karen Lee. I'm from Arlington. I've lived in Arlington with my husband and my dog since 2006. I used to be a solar professional here in town. You may recognize me as Solar Pro, but my husband and I retired 2 years ago, so we're happily retired now and broke, but it's all good. I wanted to let you know up front that I have absolutely no formal training in the culinary arts. I do, however, have a vast amount of experience because I'm old, and I've been cooking since I was 12, so that's more than half a century. I love to cook. I love to feed people. I think it's a genetic problem that I have, and I do have an eating disorder. I love to eat too much, and disorder or not, I love to eat a lot, and I love flavors. And people say to me, how do you know what tastes good together? I don't know the answer to that question. I rarely measure, and I don't think it's because I don't like measuring. I think it's just because I'm lazy. But for some reason, I do think I have a talent of knowing what flavors go together. And I also like to make sauces because my husband is a sauce guy. And so those are my qualifications for being here. And I chose Caesar salad as the meal to prepare today because it's summertime and salads are lovely for summertime. Salads are not lovely for wintertime because we live in New England and it's hard to get lettuce, and we really shouldn't be buying lettuce from 2,000 or 3,000 miles away. So it's best to enjoy your lettuces in the summertime. It is a fact that all of us should eat organic foods, certified organic foods, as much as we possibly can. And the reason for that is not only do industrial farming practices destroy the earth, but also pesticides and herbicides cause cancer. And they are known to cause cancer, some more than others. They also cause neurological diseases. So people say to me, I can't afford to buy organic. Organic is too expensive. Well, I have a question for them and a question for you. How much is your life worth? I'm sure most of you know a lot of people who have died of cancer from, you just can't even imagine, how did this person, this healthy person, die young of cancer or die old of cancer? And I have a theory that a lot of the cancers in our environment, cancers in our world, are caused by toxins in our environment and also toxins that we put in our body. If you eat non-organic foods, even if you wash them, the poisons are inside the food. So it's super important to think about the foods that you purchase from the health standpoint, not only from nutritional standpoint, but also from poison standpoint. So try to steer yourself as much as you can toward organic products in order to be healthy. So that preaching is over. I'm finished with that. And but it's important. It's important to me, and it's important for you and for the health of our planet and for your children and for you and your family to choose to eat organic. Because every time you go to a restaurant, that's out the window. So you can choose to eat organic in your kitchen, and that is a much safer plan. The first step in making Caesar salad is to make delicious croutons. Don't buy any box croutons. You'll make me mad when you do that. I will be haunting you in your kitchen if I even know that you're buying a box of croutons. They're not hard to make, and they make salads, all salads, but especially Caesar salad, delicious and so much more nutritious. We have lots of people in our family and our circle of friends who are gluten intolerant and sensitive. So I have in my preparations of most meals that I make nowadays gone gluten-free. I'm taking the against the grain bread, and they only come in rolls. They don't have loaves as far as I know. And you have a bread knife. It's important to cut bread with a bread knife, which means it's serrated. It could be a steak knife, I don't care. But use a serrated knife when you cut bread. And what you're going to do is cut your bread into bite-sized cubes as much as possible. And I measured this when I practiced this recipe a few days ago, so you'll know that the cubes are approximately 3/4 of an inch in diameter. Pretty silly, but what you don't want to do is make it too small, and you don't want to make them too big. So 3/4 of an inch sounds to be seems to be the right size. So I'm making, that's a little bit too big right there. So I'm making these lovely, delicious cubes. And look at the color of this bread. It's kind of yellow, creamy color. It's just really, really, really good. We are going to season these croutons with olive oil, garlic, and dehydrated thyme. Do preheat your oven to 350 before you start cutting your croutons. Next we're going to do is mush up the garlic. I don't know if you guys have one of these tools, and I'm not going to share it with you because it's mine and I love it, but you need to get one. It's amazing. Watch. It is so great at smushing garlic. The paper peel, the paper skin comes off the garlic instantly, and yet it doesn't kill the garlic. You can also use the flat blade of a knife to do that. I'm sure you've done that most of the times, but this guy is really great. So I smush the garlic, I discard the peel. That's going to go on a compost pile. Put that over there for now. I compost all my refuse, of course, except for meat, which I'm not a vegetarian because my husband would divorce me. But I compost every other product that I use in the kitchen. And we're going to chop. And I know you can use a garlic press. I prefer not to use the garlic press because it seems like most of the garlic gets stuck in the press. And I can't get it out, and then I get mad. And it's just not fun. So I just, chop at the garlic. It's fine. It's just... And if it's too big, it doesn't matter. Everybody loves garlic. Mostly everybody loves garlic. And if you don't love garlic, you're not going to eat a Caesar salad anyway, so what's the point? It's fine. So we're going to go ahead and toss the garlic in that bowl right there. I'm going to pour, I have pre-poured about 1.5 cups. And when I say about, I mean about 1.5 cups of olive oil. Keep in mind that I don't precisely measure, so this is going to be a test for me today, and it'll be good for you because as we're measuring, we can learn all the stuff. So I just used, it looks like about 1/8 cup of olive oil in this pot. I'm adding the cut croutons to the olive oil and the garlic. Not putting in the thyme just yet. I don't want the thyme to get stuck in the bottom with all this stuff. So I'm tossing with my hands. I cook with my hands, so I wash my hands frequently. So I'm tossing the olive oil and the garlic over the bread. Now I'm adding the thyme. And I would say, let's see, that's 2, maybe 4 pinches of salt. Because against the grain bread is not very salty. And croutons need flavor, and salt enhances flavor. That's what it's for. If you don't like salt, you don't have to use it, but I think you're missing the boat. So every little cube of bread is slathered and soaked with the olive oil and the salt and the garlic, and it smells delicious. If you love garlic, you can't resist it. And now I'm going to spread it out on that cookie sheet. I'm going to toss it again because some of it got left in the bottom of the bowl. And it's very important to spread all the croutons out so they're not lying on top of each other, because you want every side of the crouton to be crunchy. Got your cookie sheet with croutons spread out. We're going to put them in the oven. The next step is to prepare your lettuce, and it's important that you clean the lettuce the best that you possibly can. Whenever you eat raw food, you're taking a risk. I was a biology major millions of years ago in college, and I had a zoology teacher who was also an infectious disease person, and I was his lab tech. So I learned more than any of us ever would want to know about bacteria, trust me. He would not put a piece of raw lettuce past his lips. He would not eat any sort of animal flesh that wasn't cooked to beyond well done. But that's not the world that I live in. It's probably not the world that you live in. So what we want to do is to mitigate our risk of exposure to bacteria the best that we possibly can. So the main thing is to wash your hands, and the second thing is to wash your lettuce with citric acid. This is a head of beautiful romaine lettuce. This type of lettuce can really only be purchased, as I said, in the late spring, summer through late fall. Caesar salad can be used for any type of lettuce, but romaine lettuce seems to hold up best with the strong flavors in the dressing. I am a fanatic about the way romaine lettuce is prepared in two ways. Number one, I do wash it with citric acid, aka lemon juice, and I also remove the heavy vein in the middle vein, or the stalk, or stem, or whatever you call it. I'm going to cut off the base here, and I'm going to put that in the compost pile. And I'm also going to cut off the ends because they're usually brown when you get them. You don't want to serve anybody little brown tips on their lettuce. I know it's wasteful, but this will become dirt, so it's good. I will use that again. And I also take off most of the outside leaves, some of the outside leaves, because it really grosses me out, the thought of all these people in the grocery store and farmer's market touching my lettuce. I don't like that. Especially, you know, if you buy it in the grocery store and it goes on the rolling surface that on the cashier stand, ew, that's really gross. So any leaves that look really yucky, just remove them. So it might take 2 to 3 heads of lettuce to make a Caesar salad meal for 3 to 4 people. It depends on the size of the head. In the middle of the summer, the heads are going to be beautiful. In the spring and later in the season, they may not be so beautiful. So what we want to do when we go to the sink, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to remove the center section, and I'm going to tear off the lettuce. So what you do is you hold it like that, and you grab the end, and then you strip that, and you put that in the compost pile. And what you have left is beautiful, perfect, fork-size pieces of lettuce that don't have this yucky part on there. Go ahead and prepare the lettuce here. I use a lettuce spinner. And for those of you that don't have a lettuce spinner, I feel sorry for you. You need to go buy a lettuce spinner. I'm sorry. There's no way to live without a lettuce spinner if you're going to make salads. You have to have a lettuce spinner because you can lay it out and dry it out, but you're just exposing the lettuce to air a long period of time, so it's just much smarter to have a lettuce spinner. I can't live without a lettuce spinner. And I prefer a lettuce spinner. There are different kinds of spinners that has a bowl because you can use the bowl for your spun lettuce afterwards, so it's great. There are lettuce spinners that actually just spin the excess water into the sink, but holy Toledo, unless you're coordinated, that can make a huge mess in your kitchen. I have a funny story. I was making Caesar salad for my, many years ago, for my husband's 40th surprise birthday party, so I was using somebody else's kitchen, and my friend who owned this kitchen, and they loaned us her house to have a beautiful house to have the party, because they had a pool and they had tons of room, and it was really nice. And my friend was extremely fastidious, and her kitchen, she had one of the first white kitchens in America, I think. She had a white kitchen, and everything was perfect. And so I descended on her with my sisters and my daughter, and so we're chopping stuff and making stuff, and I'm in the corner with a blender making my Caesar salad dressing, which of course has anchovies and garlic in it. And I used her appliance. She said it was okay. Well, somehow I didn't put it together properly, and you know they're not supposed to work unless you have it lined up, but that's not always the case. Somehow it actually turned on, even though it was not properly attached, and it went everywhere. Her kitchen was coated with this brown, nasty anchovy, garlic, olive oil stuff. And unfortunately, she was standing right there when it happened. I thought it was hilarious. I started laughing and saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe that happened. I'm so sorry." And she actually wasn't happy about it. I think she kind of nearly had a heart attack. Anyway, we did clean her kitchen, and she did recover. But we weren't such good friends afterwards. which her loss, right? But yeah. I'm first going to rinse it with water. Cold water. Don't you touch this lettuce with warm water, whatever you do. Feel with your fingers to make sure that it's not warm. First thing I'm going to do is put the basket part of the spinner, and I'm feeling it to make sure that it's cold. Fortunately, in Vermont, we have cold water that runs out of the tap. It's a lovely thing. So now I'm going to toss the lettuce, make sure that every piece gets rinsed off, understanding, as my zoology teacher, Dr. Plymell, would say, that's not doing anything for your bacteria. What it is rinsing off sand and dirt and maybe bugs. If you're buying organic food, you're going to have bugs, but that's a good thing. That's actually a good thing. So I'm going to bounce that up and down a little bit. I'm going to spin it. Hopefully I'm going to spin it. This is a relatively new spinner. I'm not entirely familiar with it. It's a fancy spinner, so it uses centrifugal force to spin out the water. It's really cool. It's much better than washing it and then laying it on the sink to dry. And like I said, be careful when you open stuff because it could go everywhere. But it didn't, so that's good. Look at all the water that came off. Cool, huh? All right, so the next step is I'm going to slice open a lemon. Like I said, you can use a lemon or lime or even, doesn't have to be fresh. It's much easier if you use it out of a jar. I'm going to squeeze lemon all over the lettuce. Squeeze it again. If you find that you get seeds in it, do take the seeds out. If I can get it, take the seeds out because they will not be very sweet or good when you're eating it. Again, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. I'm trying to get the citric acid all over the lettuce, and they can touch each other and share the citric acid with each other. So you're killing bacteria. Citric acid even kills E. coli, which I'm sure you remember. There was an E. coli outbreak because of either spinach or romaine lettuce out of California or something. So it's important to get that citric acid all over your raw lettuce. And any other kind of raw vegetable, it doesn't matter. Use lemon juice or lime juice. It can be concentrated, it can be whatever. So we have beautiful lettuce, all ready to go, almost ready to go. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator open. I'm going to leave this in the refrigerator open because the refrigerator is also a dehumidifier. So the refrigerator is going to take a lot of the moisture off while you're making the rest of the dressing. After the croutons come out of the oven, you want to dust them lightly with your Parmesan Romano mixture, or Parmesan, doesn't matter. This should probably not be called Caesar salad. It should probably be called Parmesan cheese salad. We use a lot of Parmesan cheese. Ooh, they look and smell good. Good, good, good. Hide these while you're cooking. I usually put them back in the oven after the oven is cooled off. I put them on top of the refrigerator so that nobody can find them because they disappear. People steal my croutons because they smell so good. So be sure that you protect your croutons. Don't let anybody steal them. The next thing we're going to do is make our dressing, which is the most important part and the most challenging. Like I said, I use a blender. Caesar salad was originally invented by Caesar Cardini. He was an Italian immigrant who owned restaurants in Southern California, and during Prohibition, he had a restaurant in Tijuana where he served liquor. So his customers would go across the border so that they could enjoy liquor or wine or whatever, and he took advantage of that. The legend is that on July 4th, 1924, Caesar's kitchen was overloaded with business, and he had to think of something, and he only had a few ingredients to make salad from in his kitchen, so he came up with the first Caesar salad. He made it fancy by rubbing the bowl with garlic and by serving it tableside and cracking a raw onion, cracking a raw egg on it, and all those things that we're not going to do today. I also read that Caesar salad did not originally have anchovies in it. I can't imagine that because anchovies are essential to my definition of a Caesar salad. But Caesar salad has been around for a while, but what didn't really come to the East Coast until the 50s. I personally have been making Caesar salad since 1974, thereabouts. I saw it in a magazine. I thought it sounded interesting. So I have a lot of history, personal history myself with Caesar salad, and it is one of my husband's favorite meals. And he always says, let's just have a salad. And as you can tell, it's not that fast. It's not where you open a box, you throw stuff in, you buy bottled, dressing. It's not that. It is actually a meal that you have to prepare. Sorry about that. I'm going to give you some tips on how to make it faster. You need a blender or a food processor that has low speeds for the emulsification process that is required to make a creamy, delicious, smooth dressing. So we have my blender here, which is not the world's best blender, but it does have a low speed, so we will be able to use it. The first thing you're going to put in there is that clove of garlic that I peeled before. You don't have to chop it, just cut it into little pieces. That way your food processor or your blender won't leave a big chunk. And at this point, I'm going to put anchovies in there. You can avoid the anchovies. You don't have to put anchovies in Caesar salad. You can call it something else, that's fine. Caesar salad has anchovies. Get over it. If you hate anchovies, you won't hate anchovies after you try this, I promise. I have a lot of friends who say they hate anchovies. I serve them Caesar salad, and they're like, oh, this is so delicious. And I say to anchovies, it does not. Yes, it does. It actually does. It's really just salty fish. It's not a big deal. I've put 3 in there so far, so you can help me count, because this is not my forte, counting. 4, 5. I'm going to put 5 fillets of anchovies. If you buy anchovies in the store, which of course you have to buy anchovies in the store, you can't actually go get them. So you've got 5 fillets of anchovies. We have 1 clove of garlic. Some people in my family love garlic more than other people. You can put 2 cloves of garlic. In my experience, in opinion, it makes it too hot. Too I like garlic, but raw garlic, and this is going to be raw garlic, is really, really strong. So I recommend 1 or 2 small ones, but go for it. If you like garlic, your family loves garlic, go ahead and put 2 in there. You might love it, I don't know. The eggs that we're going to use, and I want to talk about eggs with regard to the raw thing. Obviously, you should not eat raw chicken, raw eggs, or raw poultry of any kind because of bacteria. Again, bacteria. Chickens are loaded with bacteria. But the beautiful thing about, again, citric acid also kills bacteria in eggs. That's why you can cook with raw eggs in Caesar salad, because we're going to put a lot of lemon juice in it. These are guinea eggs. Aren't they cute? They're guinea fowls. They're grown by my friend and neighbor, and they're organic, of course, and they're really small. So, and they have really hard shells. You can't even believe how hard these shells are. It doesn't even dent it. So I have to actually cut it with a knife to get them open. But you can use regular eggs. Regular old chicken eggs are fine, as long as they're organic. And if you're going to use a regular chicken egg, it would be 1 chicken egg, because these guinea fowl eggs are small. I'm going to use 2, and over the years I have learned I have to cut it with a knife, kind of chop it with a knife. If you're going to do this, don't cut yourself, please. And then I break it into a bowl first, because I'm not one of those cooks that does a fancy thing with I'm just not that coordinated. I just make sure there are no shells in there. So, good. That was a good one. Guinea fowl eggs are really interesting. Look how big the yolk is compared to the white part. It's a higher percentage of yolk to the white. So the yolk is almost the same as a regular chicken, even though the eggs are so small, and they're delicious. They're really delicious. They don't taste a whole lot different. They're just a little richer. They're not as rich as like a duck egg or whatever, but they're very good. So far we have garlic, anchovies, and egg. The next thing we're going to do is add some lemon. So I'm going to put the juice of a half a lemon. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my squeezer, but my hand will actually squeeze it very nicely, and I caught the seed in my fingers. The lemon juice is essential for the emulsification process. It's what thickens the sauce in combination with the egg and the oil, just like hollandaise sauce or mayonnaise or béarnaise sauce or any of those French sauces that thicken things. It's magic. It's actually science, but science is magic. Lemon juice, egg, oil, or butter, those make thick if you mix it properly. So now we've got that. Now we need the oil. At this stage of the game, I'm going to add a little bit of oil. I'll tell you in a second how much. That looks about right. That was about 1/8 of a cup. I'm trying my best to measure as we go. And I'm going to put a little bit of cheese. So we're ready to blend. I blended it on high for about a minute. And the purpose of blending it on high is to mush up all of the anchovies and the garlic. That way nobody knows there are anchovies in there. And also the garlic is now smaller pieces so that somebody doesn't bite into a whole garlic and cack. So this is the first process, the first step in the process of making the dressing. Right now, you can kind of see it's kind of thick, but it's not as thick as we're going to want it to be. Next step I'm going to do is add white wine vinegar. Again, I've got some organic white wine vinegar here. It's important, hugely important, not to put too much. You will come out with a bitter sauce that everybody's going to hate. But you need vinegar. It is a dressing, so you need vinegar to go with the oil. So we're going to put a little bit of vinegar in there, but not too much. It's probably, it looks like about 2 tablespoons, which coincidentally is 1/8 of a cup. We're going to go ahead and start the blender on low. This particular blender is not ideal because its blades face up, so it kind of splatters. So we might make a mess, but I'm accustomed to cleaning up after messes, so we'll be fine. But it's really essential that you have a low speed on your blender. You can also use a food processor as long as you add it in. You'll see the emulsification process. We're going to add the olive oil. We're going to add the olive oil a little at a time, which is just a thin stream of olive oil. It's really hard to control it, but the thinner the stream, the better your thickening process will work. And I apologize that I'm having to put my hand here, but it's going everywhere. It's not the world's best blender. Sorry about that. You got to use the tools that you got, right? So after you heard the blender slowing down, getting thicker. That's because it's working. It's magic. It's beautiful. So I'm going to put my hand on the top because every time I start it goes crazy. Put a little bit more in. Now it's going to spew it. All in all, in the dressing, it looks like now I've put 3/4 of a cup. I would like to show you guys this thick delicious dressing. It's going to get thicker. I'm going to put some cheese in it now. You don't want to kill your blender. Be careful. So I'm going to put heaping spoonfuls. This is a little bit bigger than a tablespoon. Let's call this 2 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3. See, that looks right to me. I didn't have any idea before this how much it was. But we're going to go with 3 tablespoons. Makes sense. I'm going to blend it again on low. Oh, almost forgot that secret ingredient. Don't tell people that hate sugar, but you got to put a little sugar in it. I mean, it's got a lot of lemon juice and vinegar and anchovies and garlic. We need a little bit of sweet in there. Always when I cook, I balance those flavors out. I balance out salt with sugar, with savory, with sweet. I think it's essential for the palate. It looks like that's about a teaspoon of sugar. You can go with a 1/2 teaspoon, I don't care. I just happen to have brown sugar. It doesn't matter, it's just for sweetness. I don't recommend maple because it's too strong. I love maple syrup, but it's too strong. So, for this particular application. So we blended it on low. Oop, it's too thick. Yay, that makes me super happy. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna add a little bit of water. Which is fine. I'm just going to dump about, how much is this? Oh, I might as well measure it. 1, 2, 3. And put 3 spoonfuls, about 3 tablespoons of water in it. See how that looks? Looks pretty dadgum delicious. I'm from the South, sorry. I put 1 more spoonful of water. Like I said, I don't measure. I'm trying to measure for you guys. But it doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. You need to make this mixture so that you like it. As long as you have the essential ingredients that I mentioned and you drizzle carefully your olive oil on low speed on your blender, you're going to come out with something delicious. If you want it saltier, put some salt in it. If you want it more anchovy, less, it doesn't matter. Mix it up. Now you have to taste it. You have to, it's essential. It's so beautiful. I'm very pleased. Again, in a little Snoopy happy dance. Yay, very good. Very, very, very deliciousness. Yay. All right, this is going in the refrigerator. I have this beautiful cast iron skillet, thanks to GNAT, which is much better. Do not, unless you don't care about your family's life and your cats and your dogs, and especially if you have birds in your house, use a nonstick surface on high heat. Don't do that. It is highly toxic. It can actually kill you. So only use stainless steel or cast iron when you're cooking on high heat, period. That's it. I'm not kidding, it's important. So we're going to follow those rules. We have a little bit of olive oil left in our thing, which is wonderful. I'm gonna wait on that. We have this giant, beautiful bowl from the mixture that we did with the croutons. I don't care about washing it. It's got deliciousness in there. Absolute deliciousness. It's got salt, croutons, a little bit of crumbs. It's got garlic. The best shrimp to buy, in my humble opinion, after doing a lot of research, is wild-caught shrimp from the Gulf of Mexico. It is highly regulated and, like I say, relatively sustainable. The problem with wild-caught shrimp from any source is the bycatch, which means the other animals, fish and invertebrates and turtles that are caught in shrimp nets as just a byproduct of the shrimping harvest itself. But we love shrimp, and tons of shrimp are eaten every single day in the United States. And so you just have to do the best you can. Live your life the best you can. I have already cleaned these shrimp, which means I peeled them and I took the tails off. You don't want to get the shrimp shells in your salad, of course. You can make this dish with any sort of protein or none. You can have no protein. Now we are going to sprinkle jerk spice on the shrimp. And jerk spice is originally from Jamaica, and you can buy it in the store. It's crazy expensive, but you can make your own. And I pretty much made it from what I had in the kitchen. I like it a little sweeter. The recipe calls for, let's put a little bit more, brown sugar in it. That's important. But it has allspice and coriander and thyme and cinnamon and nutmeg and little teeny bit of salt, cayenne, little teeny bit of cayenne, and sugar, brown sugar. But it's an interesting spice because it's sweet and spicy at the same time and not crazy, crazy hot. Let's preheat this skillet. See if I can figure out which one this is. I presume it's this one. It is. I got the right one. So we're going to have it pretty hot. I'm going to go ahead and get it hot. You don't want to put olive oil in the skillet. You're going to have olive oil on the shrimp. So that'll be enough of oil to keep it from sticking. And you don't mind it sticking. I really recommend, so now I just tossed threw some olive oil in here, and it doesn't matter how much because it's not all going to stick. So you've got olive oil on the shrimp now, which the shrimp are dry, so hopefully the olive oil is going to stick pretty well. It would be a good idea if you have a skillet outside, and a lot of people use those new griddles. I forget the kind that what they're called, but skillets outside, because this will make a lot of smoke. I feel sorry for the GNAT crew. So I'm going to turn it down to about medium heat. Yeah, this is a little bit better heat. So it's my medium heat, maybe medium-high heat. You want it to sizzle when we throw the first one in here. So we're going to throw one in there and see what it does. So we're going to, again, we don't want them to be stacked up, just like the croutons. You want to lay them out individually. Smells pretty good. Jerk spice smells delicious. And when I mentioned all the different ingredients, it's like, wow, the cinnamon and the nutmeg and the pepper. Oh, one thing about pepper. People traditionally use a lot of black pepper, coarse ground or finely ground black pepper in their Caesar salads. I would love that, but I'm highly allergic to it. Not highly, but I would be sneezing and coughing and it would be ugly. So I unfortunately can't put black pepper, but you might, see if you like it in your recipe. I do recommend it. It's lovely. I love it. I just can't be around it, or I have to be excused. So I'm going to now wash this while this is cooking. I'm going to wash this giant bowl because I'm going to be tossing raw lettuce in it, and this had raw shrimp in it. So we don't want to combine the raw shrimp bacteria with the clean lettuce. So now I'm going to go wash this with hot water. And guess what? Lemon juice. I have washed this bowl for the future tossing of the salad. And I'm going to put some lemon juice in it, like I said, and wipe that around. Set it off to the side, because you washed it in hot water, to get chilled. You do not want to put cold, beautiful, perfect lettuce into a hot bowl. When I serve it at home, I actually chill my dishes. So now we're going to toss these. Oh, I didn't time it, sorry. You're supposed to, I counted the other day when I practiced, it's perfect if you do it 2 minutes on either side. It's been maybe a little bit more than 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. What you don't want to do is overcook it. You want it to be kind of blackish This is not blackened. Blackened is from New Orleans. It includes paprika and chili powder and stuff like that. This is Jamaican jerk. It's different. It just coincidentally gets a little dark because you're cooking it at relatively high heat and it has dark spices in it. But it does not have paprika in it. And paprika is the key to most traditionally blackened recipes. As far as I know. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert, period. I think I did. They're lovely little guys. They're so cute. Oh, I love those Argentinian shrimp. You know, the deep sea, bright pink shrimp. But I'm super suspicious that those are not regulated and sustainably harvested. But they might be okay. So as an alternative, do some research about the Argentinian shrimp because they taste delicious. And they are wild. They're not farmed. So they should be better health-wise, but I don't know as far as a sustainable harvest how that's going. I'm going to put a lid on top of this pan that we just cooked in so that it won't continue to smoke up your kitchen or this kitchen. So I'm going to take that off the heat. That we'll worry about later. You don't need, I don't really clean that as a traditional, you know, I don't put soap in my cast iron skillets. I'll just scrape it with a metal scraper, get all the yummy stuff. Actually, I'll probably use the yummy stuff for something else. And then I re-season it with, I usually don't use olive oil to season because I like to get it really, really hot. And olive oil doesn't do well super hot. It breaks down and actually loses a lot of its good properties. So I use peanut oil to season because you can, or coconut oil is awesome. You can go super high with coconut oil. Coconut oil is actually better than peanut oil. So you can go really hot with that, and that's a good way to season your cast iron skillets. All right, I think we're finished. We just need to toss it. And at this point, I need to tell you that you cannot serve this after you have tossed it 30 more minutes ago. It will be wilted. You're not gonna do the garlic rubbing and the egg tossing at the table and all that, but I do think, and I highly recommend, that you toss it after everyone has sat at your table. It makes me crazy when food is ready and people don't come and eat. For those of you who do that, it's not nice. It's not nice to your cook, because your cook has worked really hard to make everything perfect for you. So when we say time to eat, we're serious. You're trying to be polite by holding back. That's not polite. Sit in the chair and be ready to eat with your fork in your hand. I've gone to the refrigerator and retrieved this beautiful lettuce that we cleaned and tossed in lemon juice earlier. And now I'm going to put this beautiful lettuce into this big bowl. Don't use a little bowl. You'll be so sorry. It makes a mess. And you have to toss this. You can't just serve it. You got to toss it. Every leaf has to have the deliciousness on it. Every single one. I use traditional lettuce tossers, but you don't have to. You can use tongs. But I like to really get in there and get in there and toss them up and stuff. So I like that. Here's your dressing. Look how thick and delicious it is. Now, you don't want it too thick, because if it's too thick, then it's going to be more like a paste. But this is lovely. Look at that emulsified beautifulness. There you go. You can see about how much I put in there. I'm sorry. I don't know how much it is. Don't put too much. Put a little bit at first. Remember, it's very flavorful. You toss it with the salad dressing only at this point, making sure that every leaf gets covered. Look at this beautiful salad with beautiful leaves with no yucky stems. So beautiful. There's a big glob. When I get that big glob, smush all the big globs out of there. Toss it, toss it, toss it. Ew, that's a big lump. That's a big leaf of lettuce. Because my hands are clean, I'm going to get in there and tear that. That was not a good job. I need a lettuce auditor. Quality control. What you want in a piece of lettuce is nobody has to cut it. You want the perfect piece of lettuce to go on your fork and in your mouth. All right, now we've got every piece is coated with the dressing, and we're going to shake some cheese, a substantial amount of cheese. Look how much cheese. Ooh, every single leaf has got a lot of beautiful Parmesan cheese on it. It's lovely. The next thing we're going to do is serve it up. We're going to, now this is just the salad dressing and the Parmesan cheese. The grated Parmesan cheese, not the shredded. Maybe a little bit more on that portion. This is a meal-sized Caesar salad. And trust me, it will be enough for a meal. Like I said, I'm a slob, so stuff does fall off. It's okay, because it's all clean. All right, you've got your lettuce, salad dressing, and grated cheese, not the shredded cheese. That comes after. The next step is to put the shrimp on it, artfully arranged. My husband prefers that the shrimp be cut into little bite-sized pieces. I understand where he's coming from. I think it's prettier putting the whole shrimp on there. I would put maybe 6 or 7 shrimp. I think that's the proper amount of shrimp ratio to lettuce. I don't mind using a knife to cut the shrimp. That's okay with me. They're still kind of warm, which I don't hate that. I think it's interesting when you have warm croutons on a salad. I don't mind that the croutons are warm. I think it's interesting when you have warm croutons on a salad, it proves that they're fresh. Unless you bought a box of them in the microwave, which would be so cheating. Mmm. Yummy. I did forget something. Sorry. We're anchovy lovers in my family. So I'm going to chop up some pieces of anchovies, just because we don't have enough flavor here, right? Ha ha, that's a joke. You don't need them, but if you have them, you might as well use them. It's the thing about those jars of anchovies, they have a lot of anchovies and they really don't last well in the refrigerator, so you might as well use them. Okay, little pieces of anchovies, lovely. Beautiful homemade fresh croutons on the top that have Parmesan cheese that has been melted on there. And on the top, you put the grated Parmesan just for looks, because we don't have enough Parmesan cheese, and that's also a joke. Your first bite should be definitely a piece of lettuce, because that's the salad part. Oh, so good. I have to say, it's the best Caesar salad dressing I've ever made. Certainly the best I've ever tasted, which is really too bad that you can't taste this. I wonder when we're going to invent a technology where we can actually taste stuff. That'd be cool. It's really, really, really delicious. I highly recommend that you make this. The problem for you when you make Caesar salad dressing this way, or Caesar salad this way at home, you'll hate it in a restaurant now. I'm ruined. Every now and then I break my rule and I'll order Caesar salad in a restaurant. And 99 times out of 100, not that I eat out 100 times, but you know, I mean a lot of times, I'm just so disappointed. The lettuce is awful. The Caesar salad is either, the dressing is either tart or a bookie or something. It's just not good. Or the croutons. I am a little picky about it, so I'm going to use this giant knife to cut a piece of jerk spice. Now, the reason I use jerk spice, look at that perfectly cooked shrimp. It's pink and yet not rubbery. Pink and white. Is because the seasonings on the jerks just seem to work perfectly with the Caesar salad taste. So let's now try it with let's try everything. Oh, it's a bad piece of lettuce. I had to cut it. Let's try it with a crouton too. Oh my goodness, they're very crunchy. Probably left them in the oven just a little too long. Yeah, they're a little hard. Get a softer one. Yeah, this is a huge bite. Oops, got too much shrimp. But it's going to be a delicious bite. So I've got a little piece of anchovy, a half a shrimp, perfect lettuce, and a crouton. Oh my goodness. Mmm. Sorry. Really good. I'm very pleased that it turned out. Always a little nervous because, you know, all the ingredients can vary from time to time. But today, it worked out. And, sorry, I don't want to talk while my mouth is full of food. My mama slapped me. But if you have any questions or comments or disagreements, I'm happy to discuss. I'm sure you can reach me through GNAT. Again, my name is Karen Lee, and I live in Arlington, but I'm not going to tell you my address. That way you won't egg my house with Caesar salad dressing if you hate it. Thank you to GNAT for the opportunity to share my Caesar salad recipe with you. If any others of you have a special recipe or a special technique or want to preach at people about organic food, GNAT is looking for people to come and share with the community. And GNAT are wonderful people. They always have been, and it's a resource that all of us should take more advantage of. Thanks very much.